From hiring a manager who was full of energy and eager to get started to him looking completely drained after every game.
No, I think the hardest part is to lose games. I mean, I'm not used to do that. You don't reach Manchester United by losing a lot, and that is the hardest part.
Manchester United. Where do you even start? The fans are cheering for their own player to be subbed off, the defense is in shambles, their goalkeepers can't save anything, and now the owner, Ratcliffe, is cutting back on charity donations. What is even happening at this club?
They are playing like a relegation-threatened team. The top scorer's got 4 goals, and he's not even in the team right now, that's Marcus Rashford, so there's not a lot you can basically point to and say.
First, let's talk about those 2 Olympico goals they concealed in 1 week. Seriously, when was the last time we saw those? It's like United reminded the world what they are. Goals scored directly from corners. You'd think they'd learn after the first one, but nope. It feels like every team is trying to score highlight reel goals against them, and somehow they keep succeeding. Every week, just when you think things can't get any worse, United finds a way to sink even lower. Remember when they beat City? That tiny spark of hope? Yeah, that didn't last. It's wild how every manager they've had lately seems to look better in hindsight compared to their successor. Think about Mourinho's time. At the time, fans thought it was bad, but they finished second in the league and even won a trophy. Then came Ole. Sure, things got messier, but in hindsight, Ole's reign had its moments. Some good football and even success, and the Champions League. Fast forward, and people might even look back fondly on the Ten Hag era someday. He won the Carabao Cup, beat City in the FA Cup, it was a decent run. Maybe he really did curse Pep Guardiola because City hasn't been the same since those losses. Now, United is hovering near the bottom of the table. You have to scroll way down to find them. It's honestly embarrassing. Imagine this, Ruud van Nistelrooy guiding Leicester to a better league finish than United under Ruben Amorim? That would be unreal, wouldn't it? But it's not all in Amorim. Some of his decisions have been questionable, sure, like starting Eriksen and Casemiro against Newcastle's midfield. But you've got to cut the guy some slack. Came in mid-season with a packed schedule and barely any time to train his team or implement his system. What Amorim is trying to do isn't easy. United has never really played with 3 defenders before, and it's going to take time for the players to adapt. And let's face it, some of the current players just aren't good enough. They're slow, they can't pass, and they're making simple mistakes, giving up goals from set pieces that should be easy to defend. But here's the thing, you can see what Amorim is trying to build. His style of football is starting to show, and he's giving chances to talented players like Ahmad, who barely got a look under Ten Hag. He needs time to bring in players who fit his system, time to build the squad in his vision. Sure, some of the current players might be useful short-term, but big changes are needed. Going back to the old system now would ruin all the progress he's made. They might win a few games quickly, but that's not the long-term solution. But if we are being honest, the real issue at United isn't just what's happening on the pitch. It starts at the top with the club's owners, Ineos, and think about it, why didn't they pull the plug on Ten Hag right after the FA Cup?
I absolutely blame them as well.
Yep.
Because not that things were going to be perfect, but things would not have been as bad.
It was clear to everyone that things weren't clicking. If they had made the move then, they could have brought in a new manager over the summer. That would have given the team a fresh start with a whole preseason to build chemistry and get the right players in. Instead, they fired Ten Hag mid-season and immediately hired a new manager. Why? Why not let Ruud van Nistelrooy, the assistant manager, take over for the rest of the season? That's a common move in the Premier League. When the main guy is sacked, the assistant steps up temporarily. It's practical and it saves a fortune. Just look at Chelsea. When they fired Andre Villas-Boas, Roberto Di Matteo stepped in and ended up winning the Champions League. Now, I'm not saying Van Nistelrooy would have pulled off a miracle like that, but honestly, could things have been worse than they already were? Plus, it would have saved the club millions in hiring fees. And the craziest part? Reports say Van Nistelrooy wanted the job in the summer, but the owners basically brushed him aside saying, "No way, we only hire big-name managers." It's a classic case of ego over logic.
They talked to every Tom, Dick and Harry about taking the job, went out and spent more money, and then when the fire's burning away, they just sack him and then bring in Ruben Amorim when more damage has been done. And
But despite United's struggles, they're still a massive club, one of the biggest in the world. Managers line up for this job because they all want to be one to bring United back to glory. These guys are fueled by their egos, and Amorim is no different. He wants to be the hero, the savior who writes his name into the club's history books. But before we continue, if you're loving the video so far, make sure to subscribe to Total Footy channel so you never miss out on awesome content like this. Now, the problem might run much deeper than just throwing money at the squad. Look at how much they've already spent. Sancho, Pogba, Ronaldo, Varane, and still it hasn't worked. United has become a place where careers go to die, and seriously, it's like a graveyard for talented players. Take poor Zirkzee, for example. He was doing well at Bologna, but as soon as he joined United, things fell apart.
This player is going to be destroyed, and his career at Manchester United is going to be destroyed. I can't see there is any way back.
People pin the club's problems on him, but that's not fair. He's not a bad player. The issue is that United doesn't know how to use him. Zirkzee is not your typical striker, he's more of a false nine. Someone who thrives when teammates make runs off him. Now, signing him without understanding how to fit him into their system? That's just bad planning. Everyone in Italy knew he wasn't a traditional goal scorer. Put him back at Juventus under Motta, and he'd probably light it up again because Motta knows how to get the best out of him. It's a pattern at United. Players leave and suddenly look like world beaters again. Di Maria was brilliant at Real Madrid, flopped at United, and then regained form after he left. De Gea? They sold him because they thought he wasn't good enough with the ball at his feet. Now, he's turning things up at Fiorentina, making world-class saves. Meanwhile, Onana, who replaced him, makes mistakes playing out from the back almost every week. It's like they swapped one problem for an even bigger one. McTominay is another example. United kept forcing him to play as a defensive midfielder who was never his role. Now he's at Napoli playing higher up the pitch, and he looks fantastic, almost like an attacking midfielder. He's been doing this for Scotland all along. Why couldn't United figure it out? Then there is Martinez. He was a rock for Argentina during the World Cup, but at United, he looks completely out of sorts. This is a guy who's supposed to be tough, aggressive, and composed on the ball, but now he's getting bullied in every match.
Repeatedly, he's been out-jumped because he's about, 5'5", 5'6". Teams are targeting him.
I mean, Almorim's system should suit this guy perfectly, a left-footed ball-playing defender in a three-man backline, but it's just not working. And let's be real, it's only a matter of time before Euro starts to struggle too. Every big club wanted him, but this United curse seems to drain the spark out of everyone. Even the brightest talents eventually fade. The truth is, spending more money isn't the answer. They've already splashed out on players Ten Hag specifically wanted: Delight, Antony, Onana, Lisandro Martinez, and even they aren't delivering consistently. It feels like no matter who they buy, they'll end up struggling. On paper, Amorim seems like the kind of guy who could turn things around if he gets the players he wants. But United has spent crazy money on big names, and yet it never quite clicks. The players come in with hype, but then struggles every single time. Now, Amorim is trying to shake things up, and wow, he's not messing around. Dropping Rashford and Garnacho? That's a huge move.
In our club are losing their jobs. We have to put the standards really high. And for that, they have to fight for the place in the team.
Rashford, man, he's got talent for days, but let's face it, sometimes he looks like he'd rather be anywhere but on the pitch, and he's been a headache for every manager who's tried to get the best out of him. For Amorim to bench him right off the bat, something's definitely brewing behind the scenes. And Garnacho? Oh boy, the hype around this kid? United fans were calling him the next Ronaldo, like, relax. He's good, quick, strong, and works hard, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Ronaldo celebrations? The underwear endorsements? It's entertaining, sure, but it doesn't make him CR7. Remember those tweets comparing Garnacho's stats to big-name players? It was wild, but here's the thing. Those numbers came against smaller teams. He hasn't delivered consistently against the heavyweights. He's a good player, no doubt, but the overhype is insane. And don't get me started on that bicycle kick against Everton. Now, that was stunning, but you can tell it went straight to his head. Suddenly, he's acting like a superstar when honestly, he's not there yet. That's why Amorim pulling him back down to earth might actually help him. It's a reality check. And let's not forget, Ten Hag was trying to lay down the law too. He made bold calls, dropping Ronaldo, sidelining Sancho, and it worked for a while. United even snagged the Carabao Cup and finished third in the league, but those wins didn't fix the deep-rooted issues. United is just, a manager's nightmare. Ten Hag came in as a legend for what he did at Ajax, but now, criticism everywhere. The same could happen to Amorim if things don't improve fast.
One thing that could become an issue, like Rob said about, Amorim's already lost that very small bounce that he had. If you get to the point in March, April where confidence is lost, you get to the summer where people are already doubting the manager.
Let's not forget Amorim crushed it in Portugal, breaking the Benfica Porto dominance. He probably thought he could handle United, but man, the problems at this club are next level. Reports even said he was shocked at how unfit some players were when he arrived. Imagine coming in with all this excitement, only to see basic errors and soft goals week after week. The frustration must be unreal. And let's be real, time moves differently at Manchester United. 1 year here feels like 10 anywhere else. Drama after drama, new lows every season. Right now, the only silver lining is that Amorim hasn't had the chance to bring in his own players yet. He just needs time to build something, time to instill his style, and maybe he can turn this ship around. But let's call it what it is. This season's a complete write-off. The goal isn't trophies anymore, it's avoiding relegation. For Amorim, this is just a trial run. The real question is, can he save this sinking ship? Or is Manchester United truly beyond saving? Guess we'll find out soon enough.